Hello and welcome to another episode of 9 to 5 Nerds with Robert Swathwin, Katrina Swathwin.
Hello.
And Brian Passafume.
Hey.
So first off, I want to say thank you to all the people for coming back. We've had a big increase in downloads for these last two episodes.
That's good.
Yeah. It just shows that, people that listen were waiting for new episodes to come out.
Sorry.
Since, 6 came out over, 5 months.
Well, things.
Yeah. Things, viruses.
Places. People.
Interesting
Nouns.
stories. Fire.
Verbs.
Stuff. Yeah, stuff happened.
Woman, man, car, TV, camera.
Well, then it was person, man, woman, man. The second time, right?
I didn't see the second one.
No, it was in the same video.
Oh.
He said it one way.
And then he messed it up.
And then he messed it up the second way.
It's classic Trump.
Which is funny because it's not supposed to be like an IQ test. It's a dementia test.
Oh.
It's to see if your cognitive skills are declining.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, exactly. So
Neato burrito.
Is it neato burrito? No, so thank you. The last
It's
two
very
episodes.
encouraging, Robert.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
He loves you. What?
With that said, we made a big investment in the podcast today and upgraded our laptop and and a lot of stuff. So we already had decent mics. We have Shure mics and we have we don't have a crazy mixer because we don't need one. So we have a nice.
The easier, the better for Katrina.
We have a simple one. So, but yeah, we upgraded. So we're gonna go from like $100 laptop to a MacBook Pro.
It was more than $100. Okay. It served its purpose. It may be a pain in the ass sometimes, but oh well. It's worked.
So I'm the only one that ever writes notes down, right? You've written notes down before, right?
I've written notes down before. Thank you very much.
So Corey, in his 100 episodes that he was on with us, never once wrote notes for anything. You like that? Oh, yeah. I picked that up too. Oh, and for the vote, I put a poll up on Twitter. Hey, what should I drink for the next podcast? And it was dead even between beer and Lagavulin.
Half and half.
And I am not drinking beer and Lagavulin, so I am drinking a drink from Thorn Brewing here in Southern California.
Cocktail.
In San Diego, yeah. It's a michelada. It's delicious.
It's a beer cocktail.
It is. It's a beer cocktail. But it's very good.
It's spicy.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. It's not as
Mine
good
are better.
Katrina's are better. But these are pretty good.
It's got clamato juice in it.
Yeah. And you couldn't tell, could you?
No, not really.
No,
but there's a certain taste to mine that I prefer.
What are you drinking? What is that thing?
It's a peach saison from Two Towns.
Saison.
Is that a type of alcohol?
Yeah.
It's just a type of alcohol.
Would you like something before we dive in? We have pineapple ciders
that you left here.
Oh shit. So Brian's going to run and grab himself a cider.
Drink.
Might as well have one. But no, it's a bittersweet week because normally we'd be down at Comic-Con right now.
Oh, you mean Depression Central?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry for the burps. Sure. Yes, Depression Central.
I find it extremely depressing.
It is. And it was hard this week with Facebook showing me all the good times I've had at Comic-Con over the years.
Well, yeah.
It's the first time since 1996 that I didn't get to go spend time, or we didn't get to go spend time with our people, And those are our people.
Right. Well, we have our
and it's
Comic-Con
not just
family.
the people that we know, it's the people that we don't know. There's an energy that comes with
just being down there.
Just being down there. The energy, the knowledge that everybody down there is just as passionate as you are about something.
I don't know if they're just as passionate.
There's some who are
there's some
very,
crazy.
very,
there's some that are a lot more, and there's some that are less. But you're all there for the love of what's going on,
right?
And it's not even just one thing anymore. It's so much stuff. So it's been a rough week, and like we said, we're missing
a real rough week.
We're missing our Skybound family. We're missing the Funko get together. I'm missing the Skybound Insiders meeting.
Well, we got the Skybound Expo, and that kind of filled a little bit of a hole.
Yeah, this last weekend was Skybound Expo, and they did stuff all Saturday and Sunday, and it was awesome.
It was really fun.
But not getting to see Brian or Sean or Kirkman or Holly or DB or any of those people, the people that we've become friends with over the years.
Right.
And, and
let my kids just buy everything behind the counter.
And not to be a sap, but not seeing Brian every single day for 5 days.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not getting to
Just
hang
randomly
out.
coming across you in an aisle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there he is.
It just sucks. And it's been real sad, and we don't know if it's going to happen next year. You hope in the next 6 to 8 months that things get figured out and the world
streamlined,
rights itself a little bit and we can do it next year, but there's no guarantee. You know, I know that LA Comic-Con put out guidelines for what they're doing this year, which seems promising.
But they'll actually have to be in a place to open it.
But they're going from 42,000 attendees to 13,000 attendees. Spaced out.
Which one is LA?
It's the one in Los Angeles.
Well,
we've been to it before.
It's not WonderCon.
The first couple years it was out.
It's different.
Around. Because it was Stanley's Comic-Con. It was...
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But
There's
yeah.
like 4 that
Which
I
one
juggle
is
in my
it?
head.
Yeah. And, you know, I just hope that next year happens. And we all do. But for
we
those...
can just go to Funky Fries on Sunday.
It's not the worst idea.
Well, you have 2 other food types that we need.
We wanted to try a couple different foods. We did Indian food today. We're going to do there's a place called Flavors of Africa that we're going to go try. You know,
What
try
was the
some
other
new
one?
things.
Is there a third one?
No.
I want sushi.
Katrina wants sushi.
Ooh, I have a sushi recommendation.
Okay. You can tell us that. Well, you can tell us now or you can tell us afterwards.
So I got this from a client, but it's a place in, was it Miramar?
Is it deli sushi?
Nope. It's called Fish Attack.
Okay.
And it's really hole in the wall, but it was really good.
Do I have to stay there and eat it?
No, you can bring it back.
Okay.
But it was
Good?
it was really good.
Do they have a good selection?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like Cheesecake Factory large where you kind of get
Good.
Oh,
off
no.
put by
I
everything.
don't need that.
No,
I've
it
always-
was solid.
Just
It was good.
variety is kind of my thing.
I've always wondered, like, what happens with that one dish that doesn't get ordered very often, but they have to have the stuff on hand to make it at Cheesecake Factory?
Because that menu is so fucking huge.
Yeah, it's like 27 pages.
It's yeah.
It's obnoxious.
I'm a believer that menus should be simple, and you shouldn't have, and this isn't to
An
like
overload of information.
No, you shouldn't have Italian and then American and then Greek and then Mexican
Well, it's
and then Chinese.
international
Yeah, you don't
destination.
need 17 different groupings of food on your menu.
I think the appeal was that anybody in any city could go to a Cheesecake Factory and find something they want to eat on the menu,
You know,
regardless of who you're at.
have 15 to 20 items and make them good.
That's what I
I
feel.
agree
There's so
with
many
you.
choices that everything kind of gets watered down
Yeah.
a little
But
bit.
you got to figure there's a lot of people who are traveling.
Except for the
who
cheesecake.
Are not, yeah. Cheesecake is delicious.
Cheesecake is good.
I was thinking about making a Japanese cheesecake.
What does that entail?
It's very
Is that the
fluffy.
jiggly
the
one?
jiggly one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh. You
It
should
looks
make
more like a cake than it does cheesecake,
Interesting.
but it jiggles when you take it out.
Have you ever made cheesecake before?
Yes.
Yes.
So is Parker. So have I, actually.
Well, I'm going to ask the one who's really, really good at it. So you've made cheesecake.
Oh, I don't know.
You
if
want to
that-
bring Parker out here?
No,
No.
my mom makes the best cheesecake, in my opinion.
It's
But
not.
she's not. She lives up north. So let's focus on.
Oh,
so you've
okay.
made cheesecake before.
Yes.
How'd it turn out?
Good.
Was it good?
It was.
Because I know someone who likes cheesecake and her birthday's coming up.
I also
So-
made that boozy St. Patty's Day cheesecake
Yes. Brian's wanting you to make cheesecake.
thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the Japanese cheesecake one sufficient?
Sure.
Or does it have to be like a real cheesecake?
Is that not a real cheesecake?
Well, when you fork into it, it looks like a cake. Like it falls apart as a cake, not as a cheesecake where it's like solid. And I have an issue with baking cheesecakes.
Katrina likes no baked cheesecakes.
I like no bake cheesecakes.
I like baked cheesecakes.
How do you no bake it? Is you just put it in the refrigerator?
Yeah.
You let it set.
cools.
Oh. And the bake one is in the pan with the water?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Like I made that. What?
I had that thing in my throat happening again.
Okay.
The baked cheesecakes are much more dense, and the no bake ones seem a lot more light.
Okay.
I prefer baked ones. I like the density of a cheesecake because it's dense but it's smooth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I like that. But
I pulled off that banana bread cheesecake once.
it was. Did you ever have that?
No, but that sounds amazing.
It was banana bread as the crust, and then cheesecake with more banana bread and caramelized bananas on top of it.
It was really hard to make.
It was, and she was just mad because it didn't look.
Well, the second
good.
time, oh yeah, no, it didn't look good at all.
Oh, the second time it just didn't turn
Oh my
out.
god, it totally fell apart. I was so pissed.
Yeah.
How long does it take to make?
Forever, because you have to make the banana bread and you have to let it sit and cool completely, which I didn't do the second time because I didn't have enough time, and that's why it kind of crumbled and went everywhere. But no, so you got to bake the banana bread, let it sit, be completely cool, and then you got to make your cheesecake on top of it, and then rebake the banana bread.
Shit.
God, I hate it.
That sounds fantastic.
Oh my
It was
God,
good.
it was a nightmare.
It was good.
Yeah.
No, but as far as Comic-Con, we're going to go walk around downtown tomorrow. We're going to mask up, keep our distance from people.
Wear a mask.
Yeah, wear
Go
a mask.
early.
We're going to go
I don't want to be down there at Friday night.
No, I'm figuring
The dumb
we're going to
fucks.
go down around 10 o'clock and spend a couple hours, walk around,
Get a coffee.
get a coffee and just
Croissant.
yeah, croissant.
Is Werewolf open?
I don't think so.
We
Yeah.
can walk by it, but I
Oh,
doubt
there's
they're
that
open.
there's that place that has the stuffed French toast in the mason jars, and they make like really fancy egg breakfast
We
sandwiches.
went there just like
How
a
was
couple
it?
of days ago.
Was it
good?
Well, good
It's
for
called
cooking you.
Aggies. We didn't get the French toast. but
Is
we
it
got
the little hole in the
eggs.
wall place?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're down there, it's worth trying it. But
No.
no,
Okay.
It's like Breakfast Republic when everybody like waits outside.
Breakfast
for nothing.
Republic is garbage.
no.
First of all, that is average to below average breakfast food, and people wait like 45 minutes to 2 hours
They
to
wait
get
long.
in there.
Yeah.
It is terrible. Like I would. Snooze is good.
Snooze is really good.
And Werewolf, you don't have to wait in line, and it's way better.
See, that's the thing is there's the garage place a couple of spaces up from Werewolf, and I'd actually like to try there.
But
one
Werewolf
time.
is right there.
But Werewolf is right there. So why am I'm going to keep walking? Unfortunately.
We need to do the ostrich egg still.
Yes, Parker was actually asking about that 2 days ago. So
Like,
I said if
Parker wants to try it.
he's like, oh, I saw this thing about an ostrich egg, and I was like, yeah, Brian keeps getting me to try to eat this ostrich egg breakfast. When things go
It
back to
looks
normal,
like it's
we'll
for
go
20
get
people.
It's probably like 6 at least. It's like
That's a
$90.
lot.
it. Okay, so
Oh, Jesus.
Comic-Con's not here. We're sad. So let's just break into one of the most depressing games ever made.
Ever
Made. Katrina hasn't beat it, but she watched me play, and it's
A part of it.
it's beneficial to have you here because Brian and I are two white men, and it's a game that is entirely about women. So,
Yeah, all the men get murked.
yeah,
So,
spoilers.
Yeah, heavy
spoilers because both of Brian's played through it twice. What?
Okay, never mind. I'll keep my comment.
What were you gonna say?
Joel's brother didn't die.
He still got murked though.
Yeah, he could barely walk.
Well, can anybody barely walk in that scenario when you're
Yeah,
running
yeah.
around from people and everybody's trying to kill each other?
And he gets an arrow in the leg.
Clarification: he was the sniper, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That part was rough. I died a couple times in that part,
Oh yeah. He
and that's the first time I used all my ammo in the game.
were you trying to shoot him or just?
Well, at the beginning there was
infected when you're
there
going
was
up the
all kinds
parking
of
structure?
yeah, and then there's a parking structure. That was hard.
I just like how like 6 hours earlier you were sniping with that same gun.
Yeah.
The zombies or the
Yeah.
infected.
So,
Okay,
I
so
mean,
where do you wanna
yeah,
start?
we'll start at the very beginning.
What game are we talking about?
We're talking about The Last of Us 2, the game that is loved by all critics and hated by all sexist,
Misogynistic.
racist, misogynistic garbage
Piece of
people.
shit.
I'm all about somebody disliking a game on its merit, but not creating 100 accounts on Metacritic to just bomb a game because you don't like lesbians or you don't like women. Go fuck yourself. Get over yourself. Just stop being a garbage human being. I know. Is that too much to ask?
Apparently it is.
Metacritic
Because
started a rule now where you.
Have to play the game?
Yeah, I think they.
How do
you have
they
to wait
enforce
36
that?
hours.
They had a thing.
You have to wait. They'll
like,
they
can I
don't
show
allow,
you my receipt that I actually purchased the game to
No,
then
they
put
don't
a review
allow
up?
personal reviews within 36 hours of the game being released.
There was a little thing for the new Ghosts of
Tsushima.
that said, "Hey, go play the game for a little while first."
Okay.
Because when the first, and don't quote me on these numbers, when the first Last of Us had like 13,000 reviews, and the second one, the day that it came out, had 130,000 reviews, there's a reason behind it.
Okay, well, you're also thinking about a change in time frame. So when did Last of Us come out?
7 years ago.
Okay. So we're in
That much hasn't changed on the internet.
No, but we're also in a much more
Toxic?
well, no, because it's the same toxicity as it was back then.
Yes, we've just let it out.
Well, you also have to think about the state of people right now. They're at home. They have nothing to do. They're not, bothering other people with their shit. Like these are the people that would go to stores and like bother people.
Karens.
Hey, can you help me find this? I can't find this. Oh, well, it's supposed to be right here. Why isn't like those are those people. They're nitpicking.
I see all kinds of videos of those people not wearing masks right now at stores.
What a coincidence.
threatened. Well,
saw
now you
that
lost
guy.
your job.
I saw that guy.
Sorry.
Your puppy looks cute.
People don't want...
I don't know if that's the correct term.
No,
She's tired.
The The Last of Us, the first and the second one, have a way of really getting to you. They're not unfun games to play. They're great games, but they are not like, oh, hey, let me go shoot this guy, or oh, let me go do this little puzzle.
It's not a light topic.
It is not.
Okay.
You are on edge. It is exhausting.
Right.
It is
like life.
Stressful. Yeah, maybe that's why some people didn't like it. But it is a stressful game. I remember one part where you're on the horse with Dina, and I love Dina. She was great before she got sidelined by pregnancy.
So wait, what?
Well, she was like kicking ass and taking names, and then she started getting vomiting all over the place, and you were like, oh shit, what happened to her? And then you're like, oh, she's pregnant.
Well, because some women actually go through excessive dehydration and...
Well, especially in the world where there's not enough food and water
Right,
to
the
eat and
baby's
drink.
trying to eat its host.
So, you're on a horse with her, and you're just talking about where you're going to make camp and what you're going to eat for dinner, and then you get that bomb goes off. It's like little moments like that where it's like, oh shit, like you feel like you're safe for a second, but you're not.
Oh.
And we'll dive deeper into the actual story of the game and stuff, but
they did a good job, kind of speaking to that, they did a good job of creating like the normal stuff you do throughout the game, whereas like you're still collecting stuff that the developer knows you're not going to have a chance to use because someone's going to get sidelined, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it seemed normal, and then no, it's not normal.
Yeah.
There was a part in the first one where for 15 hours or so you're lifting Ellie up as Joel, and then near the end you go to lift her up and the animation doesn't come, and that resonated with me a lot.
I knew you were going to say that
because it was just like, whoa,
there wasn't a moment like that in this one.
That's weird. I feel like there was one, but I don't remember what it was.
There
Maybe
also
it'll come to
wasn't a moment like the giraffe.
Not for Ellie.
Who was it? What was it for Abby?
The zebra. And I think they just used it as a juxtaposition to say, hey, both of these people are experiencing similar things. I think it was just a comparison sake, but you didn't run into that moment of levity at near the end of the game.
No. And I think part of the reason that The Last of Us hits so hard is because, well, in the first one, Joel's a good guy if you're Joel, and he's a bad guy if you're anybody else.
Except for Ellie.
Even with Ellie, he's a bad guy because once she finds out, and she does find out what he did, he is not a good person to her anymore. She tries, but you're playing the first half as Ellie, who you've put a game and a half into, who you obviously care about. But on the flip side, when you're Abby, this person just killed all of your friends and all of the people you are close to. So, in this world, it's just, there's no good and bad guys anymore. It's
they're just people.
Yeah, they're just people. And it's what side are you on is, you have to frame yourself in your own mind as a good person. Because if you don't, I mean, how bad would that weigh you down? Because how many people has Ellie killed? 100?
A lot.
200? It's
because see, I didn't get the perception that Abby thought that she was a good person at all.
Well, I mean, even Mel near the end told her, like, you're a piece of shit, and she started to believe it. And
well, see, I didn't think that she thought that. I think she just felt that she was abandoned. She was just there. She wasn't there for herself. She didn't have her dad anymore. Mm-hmm. She couldn't get close to anybody until she met the family.
Yeah. Which completely turned around her perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you could even tell with the prior cutscenes on Abby's part when she was with what's-his-face.
Owen.
He was awful. Yeah.
So it was like he was the protege of her dad.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
And so she had that connection with him. And so once her dad was no longer there, she didn't want to lose that connection to her dad.
I never made that connection, but that makes sense.
Yeah,
and so, but she's also struggling with the fact that she can't feel safe because everybody's going to die at some point. And so what can she do to prevent herself from dying?
Work out and get jacked.
Right. She, puts herself for the cause, and that's all she can kind of put in her brain. So
she was,
she's removing herself. Like she's just cutting off everything that is emotional, anything that can, distract her from what her purpose is. And that's for the community.
Brian beat this game before I did. And we texted a lot back and forth, and you do the first couple parts as Ellie, and then you do 3 days in Seattle as Ellie, and then was there a middle in between before they switched? Then they switched.
There was the ass kicking, and then they switched, wasn't it?
No, there was. You come back after.
It's when Jesse gets just.
Yeah.
So I liked Jesse too.
He was good. No, Ellie kills Owen and Mel. Tommy and Jesse find her, go back, and then there's like 2 or 3 cutscenes, and then Abby shows up, and then you go through her history with her dad.
Yeah.
And then you start her whole sequence.
So,
which I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, cool, it was a good game, whatever. And then it just opens up, and then as I start to get training manuals and like loot, I was like, holy shit, like this is a whole nother game.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a full Castlevania castle switch on. Did you ever play that one?
No.
Symphony of the Night. So at the end of Symphony of the Night, the whole castle inverts, and you play it again.
Interesting.
So it adds like another 20 hours. It was a good little twist.
No, and I kept texting you. I was like, I don't care about Abby or any of her friends. I don't.
You don't want to.
And no, because you're Team Ellie. You are.
Yeah.
You're Team Joel. You're Team Ellie. Even though Joel wasn't a good guy. Ellie might be because she didn't make the choice to leave the hospital. She would have stayed. But Joel's a bad man. And you put all this time into Ellie, and she's such a good character. She's not only badass, but she's also very sensitive. It's a very complex character, and I really enjoyed playing with her. And when Abby comes in, I'm like, they're gonna make you kill this character that you care about.
And I didn't think that at all.
Well, I only thought that because of how much people are saying they hate the game.
Right.
Which the leaks ended up being because.
What were the leaks?
Joel dies.
I assumed he was going to die.
Yeah. In my head, I had already thought about it, so I actually saw something like 2 days before the game came out that said Joel's death, and it was like, okay, like I can understand that. I'm more concerned about context. Based on everything, I thought Dina was going to get killed in the beginning, and then she was going to go off.
Okay.
But, it ended up being Joel, and I watched something where the reviewers were saying, look, if you're as angry as I was that Joel died, you are now Ellie. And the developer did an excellent job of putting you in that place. That was your father figure, and now that's gone, and now you're pissed.
I was a little bummed at how he went out. I feel like it should have been a little bit more, because they didn't. I mean, you end up seeing one golf swing, and then it's like that's it. And I'm like, but then it comes back to it later, and it's more involved. But I didn't care about Abby at all in day 1 or day 2, really, until she started getting close to Lev.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found myself, okay, she's tolerable. But then when I saw her hanging up at the end, and she was all
emaciated,
yeah, exactly the word I was looking for. And you see her there, and she falls down, and all she cares about is going to find Lev. Mm-hmm. That's when it kind of switched for me, and I was like, okay, this is also a complex character, and as you say, as credit to the developer, I felt bad for her, and I would have never felt bad for her. I just wanted to kill her the whole game because she killed Joel. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, and that battle at the end. I mean, I hate to just skip towards the end because there's so much in there, but man, holy shit, that was a rough.
When I was doing that, there was probably a good solid 1 to 2 minutes where I just dodged everything that Abby did. I'm inside. I'm telling Ellie, like, stop. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested.
And that's the point. You're not supposed to want to do that.
Yeah, I was tired. I was done.
Yeah.
And then even when you're hitting square to do whatever, I got confused. Am I doing this for Abby or am I trying to resist for Ellie? I couldn't. Those lines were blurred.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the whole point. Is we're in such a polarizing spot right now, just in society in general. It's really hard to line up with somebody else who doesn't think like you do, and to kind of see a common ground. They both had very similar story arcs.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot of comparisons to that.
So, you're talking about 2 women who have survived a lot. They don't know what to do, where to go, who to rely on. Can they even rely on somebody?
I could have turned on Ellie really fast with as difficult as she was in that stupid part where you don't have any weapons and she's like setting up mines.
Oh.
And it's so like I didn't realize you could hit her with the bottle. And once I realized that, I was like, oh, I'm just going to hit her with a bottle. She'll go down and I'll beat the shit out of her.
So my perception, it's funny because one of the big problems that people have with this game, aside from Joel dying, is Abby looks very masculine, right? She was raised in this kind of militaristic situation. Well,
she turned that way after her dad died.
Well, yeah, the development. She adapted to the environment that she was in, right? I saw her, even though she had this physical appearance, based on her reaction to seeing her father dead, based on her. Did you ever die with her? Like, did a clicker ever kill you?
Yeah.
That scream that she did was like kind of jarring. Like she came off as a lot more feminine to me than Ellie does. So
okay,
it was an interesting comparison. Where Ellie, when she dies, it was more of a grunt, and Abby was a scream, like a genuine, or I guess a female scream, and it just kind of it hit me differently.
Okay.
The fight at the end, I always thought, as you were talking about Ellie and Abby fighting, is I never thought that Ellie could win that fight. I think they were both technically sound, but Abby's just stronger. She's just a bigger person. So at the end of the game, they forced her to become emaciated, so there was actually now a physical component that was matched.
Well, you also got stabbed as Ellie, so they're both in a situation where because she got hit with a tree, and so you're in that situation. Well, you also don't know that there's a time jump there, where Abby's obviously been in Santa Barbara for quite some time.
How long do you think she was up there?
I don't know how much she was hanging on there, but it was a couple months where she was in Santa Barbara.
Yeah. I mean, she probably lost like 30 pounds.
Yeah, and I don't know how. Like I know in the fight game, there's weight classes, so these people have to weigh the same. But I still think that skill can overtake strength. But Abby had skill and strength.
But see, the first thing you said when you started playing as Abby is, man, she's slow.
She is. She's much slower. And Ellie is so fast. Once you fight her, she's so fast.
Yep. Right. Because that's just kind of her build. She's lighter.
Like I was like, fuck you.
I wonder if some of the bonuses that you give Ellie as you're playing with her transfer over to the fight. Like, say if you...
Oh, that's some bullshit. Like, you're training this girl to beat you.
Yeah. Well, essentially, the developers gave you Joel as Abby. Like a heavier, a heavier, slower character that supports another character that fights the same way. Like she choked out, she used shivs. I mean, they gave you that character again.
Yeah. I was excited about not having to make shivs again too. And then you're Abby, and you're like, fuck.
I'm surprised more people don't just carry a knife with them.
Well, you have notes?
I have lots of notes.
Well, let's see what you got in notes.
Well, a lot of... Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Well, do we want to keep going into characters, or do we want to start with the game itself?
We can go in the game itself. It was good.
It
was beautiful.
You gave me, and I told you that your opinion wouldn't sway how I felt the game, and it didn't. But you saying it was your Dark Knight of video games, as much as I know you like the Dark Knight, that's great for you, but I'm like...
It took a game and made it exponentially better.
Yeah.
It was...
Which is what you should do with your second volume.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't do that. Sequels, a lot of sequels tend to suck. But this game just made it... Everything was better.
In that aspect, yes, I agree with you.
So
you, Dark Knight is like your movie on a pedestal. It's hard to even sway it off the pedestal for Brian. So it's held in such high regard.
It's very protected with wires. It's not falling off anything. Yeah.
And I could say that there is no such thing as a perfect score, but I gave Hamilton a 10 out of 10 last week on our episode. So
no B+.
Was it the Hamilton for me? Was it as good as Hamilton?
I can tell you it's not my favorite game. Like, I still like God of War more than Last of Us Part 2.
Ooh.
Like, for sure. But the way that they took that and just made it better was...
Maybe it's because you have more investment in God of War than I do. I'd say Last of Us 2 is better than God of War.
I think Last of Us 2 is a better game. Like, overall, it is the most polished game I've ever played. Like, I can't find... Yeah, she's cute. I can't find anything wrong with it. Like,
there was nothing There was nothing. I'm trying to think of parts I got frustrated in, because with like God of War, those dark elves, I thought that was, it almost made me quit the game because I found them, a regular enemy in a game to be so difficult is stupid to me.
I agree with that.
I'm trying to think of a part in. One thing that did piss me off is the few times I went through a door and couldn't go back. And I didn't know that I'd be going into a place I couldn't go back, because I would explore everything. And there's a few times you went through a gap or you went through a door.
She closes it off.
And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because I looked and I didn't miss a lot. I got a lot of stuff. But I very rarely want to go back. You know what's funny? Last of Us, the first one, is the only game in the last maybe 15 years I've played through twice.
Just to get stuff?
No,
you
because
went
I was
through
like,
the
you know what, I want to play it
remastered
again.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went through the remastered version after I played Uncharted 4, which is a big mistake, because Uncharted 4 was, oh my God, it's such a beautiful game. I'm sure it's like if I went to go play Uncharted 4 after playing Last of Us 2, and I'd be like, oh, this is garbage. They're still great games, but it's just, the advancement in technology and what they can do. They're always, it's like Pixar movies. They're always doing better. But yeah, I don't know. There wasn't a lot of things I got frustrated in.
There was one
game.
time you kept dying and you were getting pissed.
I set the game off for the night, and I came back the next day. But part of it was the first time I fought Ellie. And what's funny is when I came back the next day, I beat her on my first try. So sometimes you just need to step away. But I want to go back in this game, if only to get all the notes.
For all the
find
side
the notes
stories?
that I missed. Because that's just as much of the game as anything.
Yeah.
Because you'll find corresponding notes. And it's so good. Or, paintings on the wall. Or anything like that. I wasn't a big fan of some of the backtracking you had to do as Abby. Because you went forward and you came back through some of the same locations. And then it varied a little bit. But I just didn't like the like the shipping yard. You went through it, you finished, and you had to go back through the shipping yard again. And both times you had to fight enemies in the same area. And I'm like, I don't like this.
I remember that part.
I don't like that.
Like, were they just tracking on time?
Yeah.
For the sake of purpose?
Yes, exactly. I don't like that kind of stuff. But then when I thought I was going to have to backtrack again,
you didn't.
I didn't, because you ended up going through the crane and then you fall, and that was a cool spot.
I'm surprised that they didn't play her vertigo into it more.
Yeah.
So, because, even if you stare down, she starts shaking.
Really?
Yeah, if you pan the camera to face down, she starts shaking.
I didn't do that.
But my guess is something like, because Lev's talking to her about, embracing your fear. I'm guessing once you get to the island and you're kind of running through some of the fire near the end, if you were to look down, my guess is it wouldn't be there. But I thought it would maybe play into a fight at the end or something a bit more substantial. But maybe it was just a way to relate. Like, she doesn't like, she has vertigo, and at some point Ellie couldn't swim, so there's weaknesses. I don't know.
I didn't like the few times that I know I was close enough to stealth kill somebody and it didn't work. Like, you would just be at the wrong angle or something, and I'm like, no, fuck you, because then everybody sees you and you're like,
I'm dead.
Yeah.
I found it actually to be a lot more forgiving than the first game.
I don't remember enough.
Okay.
It's been a while since I played the first one.
I will say I love that the bloaters were actually like boss fights. Like, those things were scary shit to me. And because the first game didn't really have bosses, it didn't seem.
This didn't. As far as a typical game goes, this didn't really have bosses either. You had the one guy you fought on the island when it was on fire. Yeah. You have Ellie, and then you have a few like
the Rat King.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the hospital.
Where he was made me nervous. He wasn't hard.
No.
And I actually kind of appreciate that. As somebody that doesn't have, during COVID and stuff, I found time to play games because it's nice.
You've been playing a lot of games.
Yeah. It's nice to have time to yourself. So have you. You played a lot of Animal Crossing.
I have.
And that's fine, because it's time you get to yourself, where when we're stuck inside with the kids,
I want to kill myself.
It's nice to have some time to yourself. So playing video games has kind of been an escape, and it's been nice because I've beaten God of War, Final Fantasy, and this Last of Us this year. So it's been nice, and I wouldn't play Last of Us in front of Oliver, but Parker did see some stuff.
Yeah,
he saw some stuff.
Yeah, he did.
Did he see that scene? Did you?
I was like, you need to leave the room, because I didn't expect a sex scene.
Yeah, that got leaked out early too.
Did it?
Yeah, I avoided all the spoilers. Once I finished the game, I went online.
I didn't see any either.
Good. When I finished the game, I reached out to Alan and asked him what he had heard.
I did too.
Yeah.
And he told me all this stuff, and I was like, nope, half of this is wrong.
Can I say fuck the stalkers? Because those things scared the shit out of me.
Were those the quiet
ones, things that peek out of the side of the...
I didn't like those, and I didn't like the what was Lev? He was a
Seraphite?
Yeah, but what did they call him?
Scars.
What were the ones that were whistling?
Scars.
Yeah, that part going through the forest, I died a couple times there too, because you don't know where they're coming from all the time.
Mm-hmm. And all the
That's
the whistles mean different things.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So like the level of
detail
is ridiculous. Like they had Ellie's breathing patterns were all mocked differently based on what she was doing. If she was side shuffling, even her facial animations were different based on what she was breathing. The scars were fun. So since you mentioned, let's talk about Lev for a second.
Okay.
So another big focus of the vitriol of some of the people that are review bombing this is because there's a trans character in it. So Abby didn't she didn't flinch at all during this entire thing. Like she talked to him.
I didn't even know Lev was a trans character.
Yeah, Lev is a woman,
but
identified as a man. Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
right?
It's fantastic. And
I didn't even catch it.
They did such a good job of just slowly, because if you listen to some of the Seraphites,
I know
her name is Lily.
Okay, I didn't catch that, but I know that they said that he was given to one of the elders as a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I just assumed that that's what they did, and I didn't even think about him being trans.
Yeah. But even then, it's so subtle, and Abby just never questions, but always refers to him or he.
Okay.
And it's played by a trans actor.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's just, and that's one of the problems. People have so much.
So why is that a problem?
You know why it's a problem and who it's a problem with.
Well, you're going to
get
people
none of us
that
here
think,
have a problem with it.
They're going to think a lot of stuff came out for the director saying, you just forced this stuff in. And we talked about this. Saying,
I didn't even notice it.
Wait, how?
So if I didn't even notice it, how is it forced?
Well, that's the thing, is some people see it
You're
and they're
making me play a game with something that I don't agree with.
Yeah, you're doing this just to come off as virtue signaling. You're doing it just to be a social justice warrior, as opposed to using it as a platform to be inclusive and to have
because they're human and they deserve to breathe like everybody else.
Yes, and so you're getting these people that are like, oh no, I want mine to be a Joel character. Well, guess what? That's your world. That's not the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't even catch it. It shows how much I pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that's a credit to the creators of the game.
Yeah,
that I didn't
just
catch
enough
it.
to just if you have to pay attention and listen to the little things. You're like, oh,
and
shit.
It doesn't make me like it any less. If anything, it makes me like it more.
Good.
But that's just
and unfortunately, a lot of people have a problem with it.
Well, I know somebody that told their kids, "You're not allowed to be gay." What?
I don't think that's a decision they get to make.
You don't get to make that decision. And I was, and we tell that to our kids. It's 100% acceptable, to be who you are. And it hurts. I was playing first base at a baseball game, and Parker's team was in the dugout, and the kids were calling each other gay. And I was like, hey, I'm not going to preach and put my ideals on other people's kids, because that's not my place. But I'm just
Knock it off.
I look at Parker and I was like, you guys just need to stop. So, and I loved that the game had
inclusion.
And I loved that I got angry when you're towards the end and Ellie and Dina are dancing and that bigot comes up and I'm like, oh man, if I was Joel, I would have beat the shit out of him. And I don't know if you looked at this, but that's the moment that Joel realized that she was gay. And I was reading an article that somebody had wrote, and they actually interviewed them, and they said that that's the moment that he truly realizes that she's gay. Because earlier in the thing, you see him saying that, oh, I think Jesse has a crush on you. I think he likes you.
Right.
And he might have speculated, but he didn't know until that moment. And he's accepting of it because that's his daughter. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I would have beat the shit out of that guy. It's just no question.
The line where Jesse and Ellie are walking around and she's like, no, man, you're not my type. Yeah. He's like, what, Asians? That was really funny. They were able to
inject humor here.
Yeah, and it wasn't, find ways to inject humor.
Well, it's because humor's a defense mechanism, and in that world, you need it more than
Well,
anything.
they magnified the man whore that was with Abby.
Yeah, I actually liked him. What was his name?
Manny.
Manny. Yeah, he was good.
He got domed too.
Yeah, him and Jesse.
They both got fucked up.
Yeah,
That was a surprise to me.
yeah. He was the only one that I actually liked out of any of her friends because her ex-boyfriend was a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And you know his new girlfriend that was pregnant might have been fine, but since you're playing as Abby and she treats her that way, you're kind of just like, I don't like this girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of
Nora. I was indifferent to Nora,
yeah.
but she got domed too.
She got wrecked.
There was one she was getting like half infected.
That was a hard point for me to chase her because I want to look at everything and I'm having to run and I'm like, I don't like this. I want to look around.
I thought they did a really good job of making you feel rushed in those situations. Like when you're running after something, like Ellie's like you're running.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was pretty frantic.
Urgent.
That's
Yeah.
actually brings up a point I wanted to make is I had a lot of fun sicking clickers on people.
Yes, there was what 2 or 3 of it.
Yeah, where they were coming and you're like, I'm going to throw this over there. And all the clickers are like, and then they start fighting each other and you're just like, sweet.
Oh, bye.
Peace out.
There weren't a lot of, I feel like you fought more humans in this one than you did.
Well, they're the real
clickers.
threat.
I guess maybe it's further on and they've learned how to better.
Defenses.
Because like, all right, when Joel and Ellie are going through the hotel, which was a cool part, that's still further along in the story, and they like destroy everything. Like you're crawling through the wall, and that thing like punches through the wall and pulls you through.
That was the first bloater in the game.
I feel like they maybe you're just better at taking care of those things. So it's obviously they kept clearing those facilities out, so you're dealing with humans. But I felt like you fought more humans in this game than infected.
Oh, it's 2 different groups.
Well,
too.
that's the momentum of just humanity itself. Like
Yeah, and like in like The Walking Dead, they're eliminating more zombies, and you encounter
you come
more
across
humans that
more
are dangerous.
community. Yeah.
I mean, the infected are just it's just a more dangerous environment.
You'd like to think that we would come together as people if we were put in this situation, but everybody hates each other so much now.
Yeah. Good luck.
I think it's funny that conservatives think liberals don't own guns. I find it comical because I know a lot of liberals who own guns, but that's neither here nor there. The Civil War that's coming in the United States is, a few months down the road.
Is that how we're ending off this year?
Civil War?
Is that going to be the coup de grace of 2020?
Maybe like fire, tornado quakes.
Oh, God.
Sharknadoes.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
No, thank you.
The bees come back or the hornets come back.
Yeah. You know what I didn't like is you're going through this scenario with Joel's brother. I can't think of his name right now. Tommy. And you're shooting things to make it loud to attract everything. And then I don't ever remember using that in a game again. Like you would shoot like the metal sign to attract all the infected and then you would take them out. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't use that for the rest of the game.
You have bigger problems.
Yeah. It might have been just a mechanism to snipe. I don't know. Yeah, why didn't you just put him out there in the first place?
Yeah.
I could see that.
I mean, I'm really nitpicking because I enjoyed the game. Like, solid A game. I love the flashbacks.
The whole astronaut thing
I
was
didn't
phenomenal.
expect it. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. And even with that, I like the little stories that were told while she's going through the museum by herself and she's seeing this person that obviously was nuts. There's the notes written on the walls.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. So, I mean, they do such a good job of telling a story inside the story. Like, there's not very many. Fallout, I'll still buy day of launch in any Naughty Dog game. Like, I don't know what they're doing next. I don't play Jak and Daxter. That's them, right?
Yes.
I don't play Jak and Daxter. But any like story-based game, and I heard the Jak and Daxter games are great too. It's not my
thing,
which is funny because it would have been when I was younger because I liked Crash Bandicoot a lot and stuff. But
it's okay not to like something, Robert.
Yeah, no, it's not geared towards me.
Right, you're not the audience.
That doesn't mean it's bad.
No,
those games are supposed to be really good.
You just don't get an opinion on whether they're good or not. What are you doing?
Yeah, so
don't kick my table.
Sorry, I think anything that Naughty Dog puts out that's a single storyline,
you'll play.
That I will buy day of launch.
Okay,
it's just they're so good.
After playing this, my gaming bar was set quite high. So I finished this, and I think I dicked around with Mario Kart for a while, and then I started playing an Assassin's Creed game.
Not the
Nothing.
same.
Meh. You're just like, man, I start cutting franchises out because it was so good.
Well, that's what I've done. Like, of the 3 games I told you I played this year, which one of those games are bad? Is Final Fantasy VII the worst one? Yeah, probably.
I can't believe IGN gave it an 8.
Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
It's a great game.
It's so good.
It is. And it's like, I would probably put Last of Us and then Final Fantasy VII and then
How
God
much is
of
that
War.
nostalgia?
That's exactly right, though. I don't have an investment. I played the first God of War and some of the second one. I didn't play anymore. So I don't have the time investment that I did in not only Final Fantasy VII, but multiple Final Fantasy
Well,
games.
that's what I'm saying. So your barometer for scoring that is probably going to be on a different spectrum than somebody who's actually just reviewing the game.
Absolutely. And I admit that. But like my next game is I want to play Cyberpunk. That'll be my next.
So you're not going to play the stupid Red Dead Revolver that you had to get?
Probably not. That had, as much as people celebrated it, that had the worst controls of any game I've ever played. You ever have just a hard time? And I had it with God of War too. Like, I can't remember how the attack was, but I always wanted to hit a different button.
Well, because it was R1 and R2 and not square and triangle.
Yeah, and I had a hard time what's funny is I don't know if it was because of the last game I played, but I constantly tried to hit circle to dodge in Last of Us. And it wasn't dodge. And I'm like, why?
It was Final Fantasy.
So there you go.
I'm doing that with Ghost of Tsushima because there's a listen mode, but you click on the little thingy, the square.
Pad?
Yeah, the pad. But in Last of Us, it was R1. But this one, you throw like knives and smoke bombs with R1. So I'm trying to sneak past, and I just screw up the whole situation.
Yeah.
Loud as fuck.
A lot. When I only played like 7 or 8 hours of Red Dead, but I would constantly
the horse
accidentally
is giving you a hard time.
The horse is giving me a hard time. I'd accidentally shoot all the time, and then everybody would think I was the enemy, and everybody would come after me. I'm like, this is not going my way.
Yeah, you were not having a good time with that at all.
But I had told you that. I'm like, I'm finally at a point in my life where, okay, I don't buy many games anymore.
No,
I bought into the hype. I paid $60 for a game, and I didn't like it. It wasn't the end of the world. I consider myself lucky to be in a situation where I can
just do
spend
that.
$60, and it's not like when I was 10 years ago, I'd been like, fuck.
Like, Katrina's not going to talk to me.
Which
I never did that ever.
When I was shopping for the laptop today, Parker called Anthony, said that Anthony didn't have the money to spend on that, and Anthony's friend just was like, "Your nephew just called you broke," and he's right. And I was like,
he's at a different point in his life.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, Anthony, you're 20. He's going to be 27, I think.
Why didn't he shoot back and say, Parker, why stop spending like $400 on Fortnite over 3 months?
But I told him, I was like, you're in a better spot than well, maybe not. I owned a house at 27. But I was like, you're making more money than I made at 27. He
could survive on his own.
Yeah, so I'm like, you're in a better spot. I was like, there's no shame in that. It's just wanting to better yourself.
Don't listen to Parker. He's a fucking idiot sometimes.
Yeah.
He just likes to talk, to hear his voice.
You better hope he's not awake and heard that.
It's true, though.
Oh, a lot of things are true. He's not an idiot. He's just a kid. There's a difference. There's things you need to learn.
True.
What do you got on those notes, Brian?
What else?
So these are just talking points. One issue a lot of people had was that there's no way Joel would have been caught off guard by a group of teenagers and taken out that easily.
I don't think they were teenagers.
Well, let's say early 20s. Okay, they weren't in their 30s.
I don't think it matters what their age was, is that they had planned this.
Right. They were going to kill him.
He got caught in a situation where he hasn't been dealing with outside people.
Right.
And he was trying to help somebody. And he even said, you can come back to our place. And theirs was safer. So he was forced into that situation. It wasn't that his guard was down.
Well, even living in a secluded community for, 4.5 years, like he's probably not going to... Yeah, he's not going to
change your perspective.
Plus, he runs into Abby before anybody else. Abby and Ellie are probably similar in age. So there's probably a good chance that he just views her as another...
Kid?
Kid. And, once he gets his legs shot up, he's not doing anything.
No.
So it doesn't surprise me.
Run?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he was killed. It's a likely scenario. He's not going to be on his guard.
You didn't see that part, did you?
No, I didn't.
So she came back from her run.
Who came back from her run? Oh, okay. Yes, I do run.
Just drink that one, Brian.
Oh my God.
You came back when I was going to Joel's house when it had all the flowers on it.
Okay.
So that's where you came back in. And I think you saw enough of the story to get the gist.
Well, they hit him with a golf club, right?
That's how they split his head open.
Yeah, she just beat the shit out of him.
Well, he did kill her dad.
Okay. Ellie does not know that. Ellie only knows that Abby killed Joel because of the cure. But at no point in the game does Ellie find out that Joel killed Abby's father.
Okay.
And I was like, okay,
Because
that's interesting.
does it really matter?
No, it doesn't. And
I kind of like the fact
Because I'm
that
pretty
you...
sure Ellie knows that Joel just killed a whole bunch of motherfuckers.
well, she told that to Dina. Like, he's run through so many people, we have no idea. There's no point in guessing.
Like there's probably a huge list of people willing just to kill him.
Yeah.
So
and based from the outside looking in, he kind of got what he
deserved.
Mm-hmm.
It was a full circle.
So I liked Abby's nightmare, and it went back to the hospital. You went back to the hospital like 3 or 4 times.
Down the hallway.
Yeah.
Did you notice how they did that with both girls? So
Yeah.
you're seeing the same area can look so drastically different for two different people.
Yeah.
Right.
Different lighting, different emotions going into it, all of it.
After, I think it was, I don't remember when it was. I think it was after you got the medicine for Yara. That's when Abby went down the hallway and saw her father not dead, but alive. And I think at that point she was kind of
Switching.
like, yeah, she had, kind of flipped over. I mean, honestly, I think after she killed Joel, because the second flashback, or the first flashback where you see the whole situation from her side, after she kills Joel, she stands there for a solid 30 seconds, just kind of
Soaking it in.
and I think she kind of realized this didn't help me. Mm-hmm. This didn't make
There's
me
no
feel
closure.
any better.
If she would have met...
So she kind of gave up right there.
If she would have met Lev in that situation before going to find Joel, you think she would have ever even went to Joel to begin with? Or did it change her mentality after killing him?
I think it was after. And I
That's
think
fair.
the stuff with Lev and Yara kind of settled it. But we didn't get that emotion from Ellie where because she always saw Joel with, she went down the basement over and over, saw him all bloodied and broken. And then when she's drowning Abby, she sees the flashback of Joel on the porch.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like, that point, she's free. And then she lets her live.
Have you seen all the GIFs of Joel, there's one from Andy Dwyer from
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, where he's like...
I
And
watched that episode, I think today or yesterday. That's where Diane
There's also the
says
one
she's
of
pregnant.
DiCaprio and Gatsby where he's like lifting the glass, and there's the Joel GIF of that too.
They
now.
did that with Nathan Drake too.
Did they? So no, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That guitar played a lot larger role in this game.
Did you watch Mark Hoppus play?
His song.
He
Yes.
played a Blink-182 song with it.
Yeah.
And didn't
And
know.
he forgot the words. The one.
No, they it was such, even the first trailer started with the guitar. It was
Yeah.
such a central theme, and by the end,
She can't play.
she can't play. She has a physical manifestation of what will happen to her and Tommy. Lost his relationships, physically unable to do what he wants. She still pursues this, and at the end, she loses the only connection she has with Joel, and she can't.
Mm-hmm.
And even playing, at the end, I was like, "Why does this sound different?" And I realized she was missing
can't
2
use it.
fingers, and it's so sad.
Yeah.
Like, you lost everything
Well, I mean, you and I talked about it afterwards. That there's speculation that she hasn't lost everything.
that she has the bracelet now.
That she has a bracelet that Dina gave her, and she didn't have it when she was finishing up in Santa Barbara, and then she had it again when she went back to her house. And she went back to her house, and nothing was there except for her stuff. But she was
Right.
wearing this bracelet that Dina gave her. And the speculation and the theory is, and it's just a theory, you can discern it any way you want,
Right.
that she lost everything, or she was going back to get her stuff, realized that wasn't her anymore, and just went to go back to Jackson, which is where Dina
Everybody
would
was.
be, where everybody would be.
I want to replay Santa Barbara.
I
and
want
just make
Santa Barbara
sure-
to be a whole game.
Well, I mean, you might get that.
I'm almost certain they're going to make a third one, and I feel like it would be Abby
and Lev.
and Lev going to Catalina or trying to find the Fireflies. And if Ellie's not in it at all, that's fine. If she is, you could see it coming full circle and her finally sacrificing herself to possibly find a cure, which would just piss people off even more because they're like, "Now you took Joel and now you took Ellie. What's wrong with you? I didn't like lesbians to begin with, and now you made me like one, and you're going to kill her."
Oh, you can never make anybody happy.
We live in a very conservative area, and we are the only house on the entire street that has a human rights equality flag on our front porch. Although somebody around the corner did have a rainbow flag with a vote for Biden thing.
I
in front
did
of
see
it.
that,
Yeah.
the little house poster. I wonder how long it's going to actually stay there before
Yeah, I
somebody
don't know.
steals it.
No,
I'd like to see somebody try to come up and steal my flag. Like, they're going to get
you
hurt.
shoot them with your liberal guns.
No, I don't have
Finger
any
guns?
guns.
Don't tell people that. They don't know. You don't know what I have.
We have golf clubs and baseball bats.
I have the the Nazgul Witch King's two-handed
you got a sword behind the door.
The turning point for Ellie, which is unfortunately was too late, was after she killed Mel. Because when she realized she was pregnant, like she was telling them, she's like I think Tommy or Jesse asked, like, is it okay if we take her back? She's like, it has to be. Like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
And then by that time, Abby found her, and it was just this terrible cycle of violence. And it didn't solve anything. It just made everybody's life worse.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the overall theme?
We've been to Santa Barbara.
We have.
Multiple times. That's one of my favorite towns.
It didn't look like that.
No. That's one of the only places I would live other than San Diego.
If we could afford it.
We can't afford that.
No, we
That's even more
cannot. We
expensive.
can't even afford to live where we live now.
No.
I love the line where after Yara dies, and she was like, Abby's trying to get Lev to come with her, and he's like those were your people, and she holds him and says, no, you're my people.
Yeah, I did like that line.
Like, no,
that hit hard.
Yeah, you're my people, and it's time to go.
Yeah, because she's killing wolves now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's over. And I think as much as I hated Owen, he actually helped that process along with him saying, I'm just done with this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
He was ready to bail, and then he got...
I was so pissed with the stupid fucking dart thing and the targets, because I got the first 9. I'm like, where's the 10th one? Where's the 10th target? Where's the 10th target?
Oh,
and it was upstairs.
You mean with the bow and arrow?
It was upstairs, and I didn't get it. I was pissed.
There was a couple of those with her. There was the shooting range in the
beginning.
Because
I did that, and you got a trophy for it. Yep. So I'm sure you would have got a trophy for I'm pissed. And I'm not even that big of a trophy hunter, but I was just mad that I missed that one.
The aquariums were... That was probably the only thing I didn't like was the aquarium. It just seemed slow, and I wasn't excited whenever I went there. It looked nice.
It was sad to me, because obviously this person had kids.
The dad that died?
Yeah.
I think didn't his kids go off to the wolves?
I think so.
Or no, they went to the Seraphites.
Whatever.
So I was also bummed that the originator of that religion/cult wasn't alive. Like, I was hoping to run into her. I thought the girl, her name in the game is Emily, the one that Abby chokes
with her legs.
Yeah, like I thought that was her, but it wasn't, and I was kind of bummed that she had died.
I didn't like that I had to go through this hospital and do all this stuff and bring medicine back to somebody that just died.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't that happen?
Yeah, and it was a few times with Abby. I didn't like going to an island to save Lev.
Mom. They're going for her mom. Their mom weren't
he was.
Yeah.
But and then you go there, and it's just, I don't know. There was a few just tweaks in the story that I didn't. It's nitpicking.
Was it like, this is pointless? Why am I doing this?
Well, I went to get medicine for somebody that immediately died afterwards, and I'm like, really? I mean,
I had forgotten all about that trailer. That was like the second or third trailer they released. The entire sequence of her getting dragged, and then with Yara getting her arm broken. Like that whole sequence was a trailer, and a lot of people when it came out thought that was Ellie's mother.
Oh, celebrate!
When you're
good times.
When you're stuck,
come on,
in that room, and you think that what was her name? Yara, you said.
Mm-hmm.
When you think Yara and Lev left, and there's constantly shit coming in the room,
and you have
that was hard.
They weren't called bloaters. What were they called?
Shamblers.
Shamblers. Dude, fuck those things. They had those little beady white eyes that could barely see. I hated those things.
I always had, it wasn't cocktails, but it was pipe bombs. Mm-hmm. I always had a full thing of pipe bombs, and then it was just shotguns, like if you get it right. But they kept falling down. Other things kept falling down from the ceiling. That was really hard.
Too. And those things are no joke. There was an interesting teaching moment early in the game when Ellie falls through at the supermarket, and then Dina and her kind of sitting there, and then the clicker roars at you, even though you're not moving, and it recognizes it. That's kind of your tell, like, hey, you need to be behind something, because even if they aim at your direction, they can see you. And I didn't pick that up until much later in the game.
The clickers can?
Well, that point right there where the clicker, did her thing at Dina, but Dina's just standing there, so it doesn't matter if you're not moving or not. It's hey, if there's nothing between you, you're gonna get found out. They're gonna use that.
Okay.
Not made.
Did you ever use the safe hack that I told you about?
I didn't use it, but I listened for it.
Yeah, it was
there.
Legit. Yeah, and I did it a few times.
I think I did. I think I got all the safes. I might have missed one workbench, and then I had to go back for all the other collectibles.
I missed one workbench. I got all the safes.
Did you get the where you're using the boat at the end and you have to go up into the trolley?
No.
Like I didn't even know it. And there's a whole part where you can go up into this trolley and find like something hidden and then basically snipe everyone from a trolley and
nice.
Can see you.
I didn't like the arcade. Like when I fell into that arcade.
Oh, I love that part.
That was rough. Like
those
and when I say I don't like, it's just that it was much tougher than most parts of the game.
Those bloaters were beastie.
Seattle was good, man.
It was
a good. I wish more anything would be based in San Diego. Like it'd be nice.
Lost World had parts.
Yeah,
in
I
San
know.
Diego.
I remember it. But
Anchorman.
Yeah, and every time you watch it, you're like, oh, I've been there. But I want a video game to be based. We have a big enough.
What
city.
kind of game?
I don't know. If you did a Grand Theft Auto, they did LA, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have San Diego. That's a big enough game. They're trying to make us root for the Chargers. It says it's just up the street. We're just down the hill.
I'll take like a Dead Island game in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
You could have Coronado. Yeah. Hell yeah! You meant fighting
Blow up the bridge.
Fighting over the bridge. That'd be cool.
Detonate it right in the middle.
Yeah.
If any game developers are listening.
Yeah, all our game developer listeners. What else you got, Brian?
Let me keep talking while I go through because a lot of this we've
I don't
already
know,
talked
man.
about.
You got an hour.
Already?
Yeah.
The let's see, Abby, Ellie.
It was a solid game that I really enjoyed playing, and I'm at a situation now where I beat all the games that are on my list of games to play, and I'm kind of just like,
what do I do now?
Taking a break a little bit.
What do I do? I'm gonna put more time into this.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll tack on to my Animal Crossing hours.
that's fine.
One thing was one of the reasons why Ellie may not have been able to not go after Abby was that Abby essentially robbed Ellie of the opportunity to continue to forgive Joel and like actually reconcile. Because I think the time frame between when Ellie found out that he had lied to her and the day he died was like 2 years.
Okay.
I think it was a pretty good chunk of time. So there was a huge falling out, and then she had just started to not waste time and just started to want to be like, I want to try. And then that was the last image, which is nice because at first you saw the interaction at the dance where she yelled at him.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, that's the last word. That sucks. And then you saw it where that wasn't the truth, but that Abby didn't give her the opportunity to do that and just couldn't let it go. So that was kind of sad.
The representation of Ellie's panic attack in the barn was you asked me one time about not panic attacks, but like having anxiety and dealing with that kind of stuff. And it's hard to explain to somebody. And somebody explained it to me one time about it's like getting hit with waves over and over again that you can't get out of. But that was such a good representation of a panic attack that I was like, oh.
That was more PTSD, though.
But she was having a panic attack. I mean, I'm assuming that's part of PTSD.
It can be.
But it triggered her to have a panic attack.
Because she nearly blacked out.
Yeah. Because
she was completely transported. Because, I would say with a panic attack, you can still be present in your time and space. And,
I couldn't focus.
You can't focus, but you know where you are. It's not like you're transported to a different place in time.
Okay.
No?
No, that's all I can say to that. It's okay. No, I've never been transported for a different time, but all I can think about is dying. And I can't see anything around me.
Okay.
I can't experience anything around me. All I am focusing on is I am going to die right now.
Okay.
And I haven't had a lot of those. Maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
Most of mine are just anxiety attacks where I'm just filled with dread.
Okay.
And it's nice to have words to put on it. And that's what it is. It's dread. It's being scared and filled with dread. But the few panic attacks I've had, I'm not screaming or anything. And the first time I had one, I was like, I don't know what this is. But that's how it feels like. I can't see anything around me. I can't focus on anything around me other than my heart and my breathing. And just that's all I feel like is I'm dying right now.
Okay.
So maybe it was a panic attack. Maybe it was PTSD. But I thought it was a good representation of, if you want to call it a mental disorder or whatever.
It's a combination of a mental disorder and a break-in psychosis. So, people do different things, and maybe I just have a different interpretation of what it means to me.
Well, I'm sure the general idea of a panic attack is the same for everybody, but the way they experience it would be
different Absolutely.
For each individual. That was just one small thing. I liked all the farm parts. Not that there was many, but I enjoyed that she had a sense of normalcy for even if it was a short time.
That everything going on with that at the farm and all the flashbacks to Joel, I'm sitting at the TV, and every time the screen went black, I'm like, all right, game's over. Didn't happen. Screen happens again. Screen goes back. Game over. Nope. And I'm like, holy shit. And then they take you to Santa Barbara, and I'm like, damn, I really get to play
this game
through?
going to be ever?
Yeah.
over?
Like I was happy with it. I was like, this is just more. It took me 31 hours, 32 to beat it. And the first game took me like 18.
So it's 36 or 37 for me.
So they gave you essentially double the length. I mean, it was just, I've never seen
they
a
had
game.
2 stories to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are you going to tell 2 stories in such,
Short
18
amount of
hours?
time. Yeah, they took the 7 years and gave it justice.
I wish that for once somebody would... Okay, so remember when Fallout 4 was announced and it's like, it's coming out in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, what? I mean, I know you're not a Fallout guy, but it was still like, oh my God.
Well, it's hard to keep a game under wraps like that for so long. And they're like, oh, it's coming out in a couple weeks.
Kirkman in The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Or his die.
Yeah. I wish that, okay, so it would be, you'd have to have 2 separate crews working at the same time.
Right.
But what if, this came out, it was out for 6 months, and they're like,
round
you're
2.
getting Last of Us 3, in 2 months. It's like, if it was like the Avengers where it came out a year apart, you'd be like, yes, not 7 years. You'd be like, oh my God. So, I don't know.
That'd be a good surprise. They should do that with Final Fantasy Part 2.
They
Good luck.
just started production on it, didn't they?
Well, that's in production. I don't know if they just started it.
It's not coming out for 7 years.
I'd say 2022.
I'd be happy with that.
The review that I wanted you to watch that you haven't watched yet, one thing they talked about was that, well, it sounds kind of cliche, but there was no difficulty. There's no difficulty setting the Life of Forgiveness, and that basically neither of the girls. Well, Abby did at the end. She was given the opportunity to stop.
Women.
What?
You
Women?
said girls.
Oh, women. But Lev was kind of her little angel on her shoulder at the end when she
Jiminy
had
Cricket.
Dina. And, Lev reached out hey, you got to stop this. You got to end this stuff.
I liked him a lot.
It was a fantastic character.
Yeah. I mean,
and I would play with both of them in a third game.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Or even just an expansion like they're doing with Miles Morales. And
that's not an expansion. That's a full game.
Well, it's like Lost Legacy. I mean, it's a game, but it's not.
It's a full priced, full length game.
It's like Lost Legacy, which was not a full price game.
Okay.
I could look it up.
Would you want to make a wager?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to wager?
I don't know. You pick. I don't fucking care.
Okay.
A wager.
Yeah.
It's a game, but it's not.
It's a launch title PS5 full game that's an offshoot of the game that's already came out.
But they're comparing it to Lost Legacy, which was not
Who?
the developers.
The developer said it was a new game.
It is a new game. It's not an expansion pack. It's a new game, but it's not like Spider-Man 2.
No, it's not. It's an offshoot of the game, but it's a full game.
I never said it wasn't a full game.
Lost Legacy wasn't a full game.
Yeah, it was.
Was it 12 hours?
It was a whole story. He's waving.
You just try to compare it to a DLC, where it's not. It's not a DLC.
No, it's not a DLC. It is coming with a PS5 remastered version of the first game, though.
You even play the first one?
Yeah, I platinumed it. I'm done with it.
Oh.
Which means I can't play it again. That's my rule now.
It should be you should play a game for fun and not worry about the trophies.
It's more of a time thing, and I try. So one of the things now is I try to play them on just the native system because I made a big mistake of taking PS3 games and just replaying them on PS4, and it just took a lot of extra time for trophies.
All right, we got to stop.
Stop. Yeah, stop.
I'm done.
Because we're talking 30 to 40 minutes and we're over an hour.
Hey, this is worth it.
Your face.
It was a good game.
It was really good.
What'd you think about it?
It was good. Thumb up.
Anytime I think of Last of Us, I just think about Lacey couldn't get past the first situation where you first find clickers in the very first game.
I probably couldn't either, so.
Well, just so you know, BB beat both of them.
Good for her.
And it just feels like it diminishes my accomplishment of beating it. If she did it. Thought I did good.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back in 2 more days to record, so.
What are you guys going to talk about next?
I don't know.
We'll see.
We got stuff.
Hamilton Part 2.
No,
No.
we did 54 minutes, just Katrina and I, on just Hamilton. The best piece of entertainment that's come out in 10 years. Easily.
First 10 out of 10.
Yep. First 10 out of 10 I've ever given. I've watched the
It's
movie
well-deserved.
7 times, and I've listened to the soundtrack like 7 or 8 times. It's the best piece of entertainment I've ever seen.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. And I don't care if it hypes it up for anybody and then they don't like it. It doesn't really bother me.
Good for them.
Yep. That's how I feel about it. That's all that I care about. It is a perfect piece of art. Anyways, I already did a whole Hamilton episode, so that'll be this week's episode. We're going to go to non-Comic-Con tomorrow, and we'll be back in 2 days.
Non-Comic-Con.
Non-Comic. Oh, now I'm sad.